We thank you, Mr. President, for convening this crucial briefing on the priorities and preparations for COP30. I also congratulate my friend Ambassador Andre Arana Correa del Lago on his appointment as the President-designate of COP30 and convey our full support for his successful tenure. Allow me to make a few points even as we align with the G77 plus China position as articulated by the Ambassador of Iraq. First, India remains steadfast in its belief that tackling climate change requires a fair, inclusive, and balanced approach rooted in climate justice and the foundational principles of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. Any attempt to dilute or sidestep these principles risks undermining the trust and cooperation necessary for collective global action. Second, at COP30, India will push for an unequivocal commitment to enhanced climate finance that is predictable, transparent, and accessible, which is crucial for large-scale deployment of clean energy, disaster-resilient infrastructure, and adaptation projects. The developing world requires trillions of dollars for a just transition, and yet the developed nations have consistently fallen short of their financial obligations. The cost of this failure is borne disproportionately by people in developing countries who have contributed the least to the problem, but suffer the most from its consequences. Public climate finance from developed countries must fully compensate for the additional burden placed on developing nations as they deviate from their least cost development pathways. Third, I think we must remember that public climate finance is not charity. It is not development cooperation. It is an obligation that flows from the polluter pays principle. And again, ambition cannot be a one-way street. Ambition cannot be limited to NDCs alone. It must extend to public climate finance too. We have expressed deep disappointment with the outcome of the new collective quantified goal on climate finance at COP29, which blatantly disregarded the needs and concerns of the developing world. COP30 must correct this course by ensuring substantially scaled up and timely climate finance, allowing developing countries to transition equitably to low-carbon development pathways or adapt to the accelerating devastation of climate change. Fourth, India continues to call for unrestricted access to affordable and appropriate climate technologies for developing nations, accompanied by robust capacity-building initiatives. Innovation and technological cooperation must not be held hostage by artificial barriers imposed by developed nations. Instead, they should serve as a force multiplier in the global fight against climate change. Fifth, COP29 made progress in establishing standards for international carbon markets and carbon credit transfers. COP30 must work to ensure that these mechanisms uphold integrity and transparency, avoiding unnecessary bureaucratic complications that could stifle participation and effectiveness. Friends, India is one of the few nations on track to fulfill our nationally determined contributions. India achieved its initial NDC target of a 33% reduction in emissions intensity of GDP by 2030, 11 years ahead of schedule in 2019. Today, we rank fourth globally in renewable energy installed capacity, in wind power, and in solar power. Our ambitious national green hydrogen mission is poised to position us as a global leader in green hydrogen production, usage, and export. Our new NDCs would be in tune to achieve our net zero target of 2070. In conclusion, India reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the Paris Agreement and to working with all nations to ensure that COP30 delivers concrete, ambitious, and just outcomes. The time for real, tangible support, both financial and technological, is now. Thank you, Mr. President.